Good evening, everyone. Time for another silver update. This is the 1 hour gold silver cross provided by netdania.com. You can click on the link below. Now, we've been watching this cross very closely recently. You can see now these are all relatives, so they change as you move, but just based on this 1 hour chart, you can see that silver is trading roughly at a 24.50 gold equivalent. Gold's trading at roughly a 13.70 silver equivalent. What does that mean? Well, you can see from the chart that gold and silver tend to trade together, although they diverge from time to time. Now, since we've put in this sort of bottom after the massive smackdown, we can see that gold is starting to approach near, well, we're about a third retracement. Let's say we've gone from, we'll call the 1560 as the top range and 1330. So we're talking about 150 or so. We'll just say that. As the range for gold, and we've gone up to about 1421, so we're approaching that halfway point. Now you can see that silver is nowhere near that. Silver is still just about dead, so it's anyone's guess as to why that is. Of course, you know what my guess is on that, that silver is their Achilles heel. It's their downfall, so it's not surprising to see that it is the most suppressed. So let's pull out to the daily and see if we really see anything on that. We get out to the daily and you can see it is a significant bounce difference here. You can see that gold is still not nearly corrected as much as silver. Silver has had a tremendous correction, whereas gold is just corrected right back to support. So based on this chart and the other chart, silver is by far the most undervalued, and you can see we're less than 50% of our all-time high. So in my opinion, silver is a screaming buy, but again, that's just my opinion. So I wanted to take you over to APMEX. Now, APMEX has had a lot of shortages, not shortages on everything, but I point out before that I did some buying. I started buying at 24, and then I did a little bit more buying at 23. I did not catch the bottom of 22. Congratulations to all of you that did that. And these are the coins I bought. They're a little bit higher now, but they're close to the price I picked them up at. I bought the 2013 half ounce koala and the 2012 half ounce koala. They still have a number of them left of the other ones. You can see the 2013 koala is all the way up here at almost $31, so that's about $8 above spot, and you can see they have a delay in shipping. But the two I really wanted to look at, and this is just for my European listeners because I have a little bit of dry powder, and I would have acted on this one, which is just blew me away when I saw it. But you've got these two issues here. The 2012 1 ounce koala Berlin Privy. You can see they put that little Privy mark in there, and that's a 50,000 mintage, very, very low mintage. And we also have the 2011 Berlin Privy, and that's also 50,000. So very rare issues. In my opinion, they're going to be a great deal. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because when looking at some of the links that my listeners have sent me, I went over here and to coininvestdirect.com, and you have to switch this between the currency, whether it's the dollar, the euro, or the pound, but we're set on the dollar. And you can see here, I went through all these to try to find some anomalies, and this was the big anomaly that I found here. We've got the 2011 Berlin Privy Koala. They're selling it for $28.45. That's just a little over 5 over spot for that coin, and also the 2012. So now they do not ship to the United States. It's kind of interesting. I went through all the locations. They're only in Europe. You can't get these. Trust me, if I could get these coins, they'd be gone. So for my European viewers, this is a deal like I've never seen. I expect these to be gone as soon as this video is posted. But let's look at the Wayback Machine. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with a Wayback Machine, it's kind of interesting. It has a historical record of web pages that have existed. Now, what I did was I went back and just put in appmex.com in the Wayback Machine, and then I went to February, and if you remember, we were trading at about $30 or so back then. And just to show you what I found when this was available on AppMex, you had this Berlin Privy. They were available. You can see that they were $37.76 for the 2012, whereas the 2011 was not available in that Berlin Privy. So the 2011 definitely a coin that is going to be 2 and something years old and a mintage of 50,000, and you can pick that up $5 above spot. I just wish I could get that, but I can't. They don't ship here. So that is the absolute deal of the night that I have found, and somebody who gets that, you owe me a coin. So let's take a look at some of the questions here. We've got a ton of questions, and we'll start off with Ice Pick, and this is retail investor versus industrial demand. Brother John F., with a recent smackdown, we've seen high retail investor demand causing delays at the bullion dealers. Some would argue it is a ready-to-market inventory issue and not an actual supply-side issue. I don't fall into that camp, but I do wonder how, who, what, when we might start seeing supply-side issues to creep into industrial demands. Are we to believe that industrial purchasers are also paying the higher premiums? I'm sure industrial players are hedging in the paper markets, but at some point they have to take delivery. I'm going to go ahead and plug this in, so forgive the buzz here. Well, the industrial users, are they bidding against the retail buyers here in America? I doubt that that's the case. How many industrial manufacturers that use silver do you have here still in the continental United States? And how many are actually over in China? So if anybody has an interest in getting low-priced industrial silver, I think at this point it's going to be China or other foreign countries with cheap labor rather than the United States. If anybody knows the answer to the question as to how much of manufacturing that uses silver is located here in the U.S. as opposed to in China and other countries, I would like to know. My guesstimate would be that as far as manufacturing is concerned, which is primarily going to be electronics and solar and some medical, I would guess that probably 90 to 95% of that manufacturing is occurring in Asia, is not occurring here. So that's going to be the key factor in that question. May 1st, a call to financial arms. I want to load up. This is from Freedom Fighter. Hey, Brother John, great work with what you do. Perth Mint still currently out of stock. All silver bullion bars. Both the above locations do, however, have coins. My question is, for May 1st, are we stacking coins with nice premiums or bullion we can get our hands on? Better for me to have an answer as I've been asked by others. Thanks again. Well, I think the May 1st deal is to try to demonstrate how dire this situation is and to drain off as much physical silver as we can. Now, I did check on APMEX. If we go to APMEX and we look at the bags, they have gotten some back on. I don't know if they have a deal with the coin stores or how that works, but if we go on to our 90% silver bags at APMEX, you can see that they're back in stock for the big 1,000 face. That's the standard one. They've got 6 of those. They've got 16 of the 500, and they've got 27 of the 100. So the quoted price here is about $27.99. You do that math on that, comes to about $29.20 or so an ounce. So we're talking about $6 above spot. So I would say this is going to be a great place to start, but wow, that's a really high price. I think you can probably fish around and find some stuff that's even cheaper. I would say go for the lowest price silver that you can find. And when I was on the panel with Chris Duane and we were talking about taking out the junk silver coin by coin, we discussed the fact that it'd be interesting if we could take out all the dimes and take out all the quarters and move on up the chain. But now with this huge premium on junk silver, it might be too expensive to actually do that. $6 above spot for junk. Wow, that's just something I've never seen before. I never even imagined that would happen. So that's kind of crazy. Let's get back to the questions. David Morgan, COMEX default impossible. This is from ARV UK. In the link above, around 9 minutes, David Morgan comments on other writers predicting a COMEX default. He says the contracts contain stipulations that they can be settled in cash even if holders want delivery. This means the COMEX can't possibly default. What are your thoughts? Absolutely, David Morgan is correct. This is not a matter of speculation. It's actually a matter of fact. The COMEX and other exchanges have forced cash settlement. It's right there in their rules. They have the right to force cash settlement. And if you remember, I pointed out in the past that as FOFOA pointed out that the COMEX really only amounts to 5% of all silver that's delivered in the world every year. So the COMEX really is just a paper exchange, and if they decide to settle in paper, they can. But again, that still would be force majeure. Of course, the people who are betting against the silver shorts, they're probably going to lose. The cards are stacked against them. I think a lot of people came in around the 26 level. I think if we look at that volume around that level, we can see, even though it doesn't show up as much now because the volume we've had is so ridiculous, you can see there was that steady volume increase during this entire time frame. I think those were spec longs who were thinking that there was very little downside risk and a lot of upside potential. Now, we know they were taken out with this massive, in my opinion, Federal Reserve central bank intervention in the silver market. So if it can be settled in cash, will they lose? Absolutely, they will lose. The paper game is nothing but a paper game. They control the rules, they control the market, they control everything there, and the only way you can fight them, and I've been saying this on a regular basis for the last 2 years and privately probably the last 10 years, the only way you can beat them is to take delivery of physical silver that takes 1 ounce off of the markets every time you buy an ounce. And as Jeffrey Christian has said, that is 100-fold the amount of physical silver that is available. So for every 1 ounce that you take off of physical, that is 100 ounces of paper that has to come off. So that is the strategy. That's what May 1st is about. It's about removing the physical ounces from the market and forcing their hand. And yes, I do believe, I'm not going to give a timeline. I think Bixwear has, and we're about 20 days left on that timeline. But there will be, in my opinion, a force majeure on the LBMA and the COMEX. It will be in physical silver, and they will force a settlement in cash when they can no longer deliver the metal. And that will be the complete discrediting of those two exchanges. And I believe at that point, the price setting for physical silver and gold will move to the east, where they will establish more honest exchanges, and the West will be discredited at that point. And we'll talk to you next time.